Yeah, good. Go on, one more. One more. Twist your rubber arm. Just sit back. Ooh. Nice. Give it a red hot go there, Val. I'll get rid of my face, and I can actually like pretend that I'm kind of, sort of, actually casting. See how that works out. All right. So the plan at the moment. So we'll get these guys playing. Do you have them all ranked up? Okay. So this is a match that we've got, which is Eximus is new. He's playing on the Assault as Torvald, who's the free character this week. Shep is playing Bucket, the robot. Well, you can either spend the keys or you can level up the characters. So all of the characters have got up to level like 20 or so, 28 or so. They will all unlock perks for you. So if you've got the characters unlocked, then you can spend your keys on perks. But if you don't have the characters unlocked, save them up for characters. All right, so this is fun. I'm going to actually get a chance to like kind of, sort of, maybe potentially explain things a bit better as we play. It's happening! So I'll try and keep the strategic discussion away from those guys in the channel. But the way I'm seeing it is, so Bucket, as a support, he doesn't have a shield available to him or any sort of... He's got the support's shield, which lets everyone... It will temporarily give a shield for everyone on the team within range. So it's a good one-shot thing, but it also takes a while. He can stack it, though, because Bucket's got the mechanized recharged ability, which will let all of your class abilities, which is the Assault's shield, the Medic's heal burst, the Support's shield, and the Tracker's planetary scanner. Bucket will recharge all of those things with his... that's his like special character ability. So you can kind of do reasonably well with it. Val is a healer. She's got really good single target healing on a sustain. She's got the med gun. It's got nice range. The only concern with it is that the med gun kind of shows you where the hunters are, like shows you where the medic is. So in terms of monster players, they get a chance to have a really good look at you know, it sort of shows to the monster where the medic is. They're at one end of the beam, and if you're attacking someone, then you can already see where they are. So, oops, no, that's the wrong button. There's a way for me to scan between the players. Alright, so Shep's playing as Bucket. I was talking about him. He's, as a support character goes, he locks down areas around the character. So he can deploy up to 3 automated turrets, and those turrets will automatically track and shoot at the monster within a radius. So when you're playing Bucket, you want to try and sort of have a safe zone sort of set out, so that if the monster goes into that zone, all the turrets can see him, and you sort of make the monster come to you a little bit. So in addition to this, we've got Eximus is playing Torvald. So Torvald is considered a little bit of a weaker support, weaker assault at the moment due to the nature of his rockets. His mortars. They have a really high arc. They're difficult to aim. They're really handy if you drop them on an enemy. Like if you have someone in your team goes down and the monster is trying to camp the body so that you can't revive them, the mortars are really good for dealing with that, because they do quite a fair bit of damage. But unfortunately, hitting things with them is a bit tricky. So Shep's earned the ire of the monster, but he's doing the thing here where he's setting up the turrets. The only danger that's kind of happening there is because he's setting the turrets up very high. If Valen just hugs the bottom corner of the cliff that those turrets are on, the turrets won't track him. The other thing is, because they're all so close together, he could in theory hit them all and knock them all out with a rock throw. Fortunately, it's working out for him pretty well. the other person that they've got playing is Traith. Traith is playing as Abe. So Abe's the bounty hunter character, and his major deal is he's got a tracking dart. So the tracking dart will automatically, it's basically a wall hack on the monster, and it lasts for 45 seconds. So if Traith can hit a tracking dart on the monster, the hunters will be able to see him wherever he is on the map for 45 seconds. No, Abe, just normal Abe. Alright, so the way the dome works, the dome got changed pretty dramatically as well in stage 2. Oh, run! Run, Valen, run! Yeah, he's going. So, the way the domes work in stage 2 is that they've got a time limit. They've got about a 5-minute time limit when you first drop the dome on the monster. So as the hunters, you actually have heaps of time on your side. The matches are only about 15 minutes long. And in that time, the monster's got to get to stage 3 and destroy the relay, or you. So if you drop a dome and do nothing, and the monster just hides from you and you hide from the monster, the hunters are at the advantage because they just have to sit there and wait, basically. So we carry on. Valen's managed to get a nice buff that'll crank up his armor regen, and I think he's a little bit higher on. He's almost got a bit of bonus with his. I think his energy's stacking up. He's about halfway to rank 2. So he's probably going for the buff here, and got a bit caught for it. So Valen's, I don't know how much more experience Valen's got with monsters, so he's a little bit newer, but that's okay. It's good because we've also got Eximus and Valen, like, you know, newish players taking on newish players, so to speak. For example, so which is all well and good. Now, God. So this fight's going reasonably well for the hunters at the moment. Especially worth noticing is you got Shep. Now he's not really down there mucking it up. He's just sort of sitting up in the corner here on top of a cliff setting up the turrets. So because he's up on a cliff, Valen's got to really commit his movement to get to Shepard. He has to either use some of his traversals to get over there, or he got to use Leap Smash. And it also means that Shep, in that sort of situation, if he's close enough, he can just go to another, he can just jump to another section from where he's sitting there on his little perch. So it basically means that it makes it harder for Valen to chase him when he incorporates that verticality into his play, whereas at the time the Shep was up there, the other guys were kind of a bit milling around down the bottom. That being said, the actual combat moments that are going on, the Hunter guys are doing quite well. And Chef had a misclick there. I think Trace has just leapt right over Valen. So Valen was going for the juke. Yeah. But Valen was going for the juke there, but what happened was he used the because Traith used the dart, basically stuck it in, so now they've got an easy way to keep track of Valen for the next like 30-45 seconds. It's also to do with the planet scanner. So if the planet scanner wasn't up, Valen could have had a really good opportunity to juke there, but unfortunately, the Traith is on point, as it were. That's one of the differences you get with the good trappers as well, is they'll save the planet scanner until you sort of get the until you sort of lose the idea of where the monster is. So here, for example, Valen's in a good position on the map there because he's kind of leading. They can't cut him off. However, rather than running there, he was able to sort of get a little bit hit. On the upshot, Valen's probably got, if the dome goes down based on monster health, or if Valen gets it down, he'll probably be able to get out pretty easily. So here what Valen's doing is pretty good against Traith, where he's trying to separate him from the rest of the hunters. The medic hasn't got line of sight. The support did just use his shield to try and keep him, and that was because the support put the shield on that kept Traith alive long enough to keep going. If Valen manages to get it down on Traith, however, and then the dome would go down very quickly, because getting it down on a hunter is worth about like a minute and a half, which he just did. So a combination of the amount of damage that Valen took and getting that down on Traith basically caused Valen to break the dome, and he was able to get away. So that was a good move from Valen there. Actually, yeah, that was a good move by Valen, was cranking out that, keeping the pressure on one person and making him really work for it. So as a result, Traith's now got a strike, which is a 20% health penalty. So if Valen wants to wail on Traith later on, he's a weak link. The only thing that's starting to go against him is time. They're down to about 4 minutes, and Valen hasn't had a chance to stage up yet. He's probably going to go for the evolve very shortly, I would hope. And that would then give him a bit of a refund of a certain amount of health, as well as extra skill points. So he'd have a more solid chance at getting the hunters. But it looks like he's going for it. So while he's picking his skills here, this is actually a really good evolve spot as well. The hunters coming up, they don't have line of sight on him, so they can't hit him with a long range thing like an orbital bombardment or anything along those lines. So he's gone to level 2 of all of his abilities except for rock throw. I probably would have tried to level 3 something, either fire breath or rock throw, and then leave your traversal abilities like leap smash or charge. Leap smash can do quite a lot of damage though. Like, if you want to keep the combo going, leap smash is really good. Alright, so let's talk about the Dark Horse who's been holding the team together. So we've got Ballad here, who's been basically quietly medicing the way up. Now, unfortunately, because Ballad sort of fell down to the ground there, he made himself a target for Valen. And in this case, seeing as he's gotten a little bit out of place, but that was good use of cooldowns on Ballad and Shepard's part to keep Ballad alive. However, Ballad eventually did go down, dome down. Valen should run, basically, which he's totally going for. That's a reasonably good result for Valen. He's been turning his survival odds around as a result. So now he's got a strike on the hunters in their medic and their trapper. So they did, but because he's level 2 now, he's the extra damage off of his abilities as well as his own melee. As long as he can keep on top of it with the positioning, which he did do quite well in that last fight, he should be able to. He's still in with a chance, basically. Like, a level 2 monster's got a reasonable chance of killing hunters in a straight-up fight, especially if they get strung out and they catch a bad dome or something like that. So it could be a case of, if the hunters split up to try and land a dome on Valen, if he gets really aggressive as soon as the dome gets dropped, then what can happen is you'll end up with 1 or 2 hunters who are by themselves versus the monster for up to 10-15 seconds, and in that amount of time, Valen can easily kill one of them, and then continue on from that. Unfortunately, at this point in time, Valen's kind of caught into that eastern pocket in the map, and the hunters can more or less cut him off either on the north and south. So this is probably going to be one of the last stands, depending on how well it goes. The hunters are going for the buff, but the dome is ready, so it's going to be a bit rough. It's going to be a bit rough for poor Valen, but he's trying to go for the Duke. Unfortunately, the planet tracker got him. What he did get instead, this is a good example of where they threw the dome a little bit too soon, right? Because Traith was right there and Valen was able to get a big alpha strike on him, he might even be able to kill Traith very quickly. He got the crush against the cliff. There might be a bit of good management here, but because he's also spreading out his damage now, they're going to struggle in terms of who to heal. And this is where Bucket as a support is a bit troublesome, because he can't supply as much. So Valen just got the incapacitation, and he might even get 2, Oh no, he's okay. So that's the dome down. So if Valen gets out of dodge here, he's definitely turning this one around. Not sure what that was. Possibly eating something? Ah, there we go. Ability cooldowns. That's a good buff for Valen. So the hunters at the moment, they're in a rough spot because all Valen has to do now to go for the win is if he goes to the point where he gets his armor back at level 2, and then if he just crushes the medic at the start of the fight, he's pretty much got it in the bag. The support can't do a lot. Bucket as a support, he's okay with the area of effect denial. Oh, stage 3, baby. Oh, this is gonna be close. So now it's looking a lot better for Valen. He's got heaps of extra health. I don't think they're gonna land any free hits on him as he skills up. Maxed out rock throw, nice. That's going to be a truckload of damage, and the hunters are going to turn around and go for the relay. What they could have done at that particular point in time was probably charge to... Yeah, what the hunters probably should have done at that point in time is charged for Valen. They were all still walking in the same general direction. They could have caught him right as he came out of the as the cocoon, and they could have done a fair bit of damage. Unfortunately now, he's had time to get his armor up, and there's a minute and a half left on the timer. So if Valen gets in and engages right now, he could even screw up a fight here. And it looks like what they're trying to do here is dome him to keep him away from the relay, which makes sense, but unfortunately it pauses the timer. So they're kind of given a reasonable amount of this to Shep. Now Shep's just used his cooldowns up, which is his so he's used his shield cooldown and the bucket. Now, because he's used up his support, so because he's used up those, Traith is quite vulnerable. And all Valen's got to do is crush either the support or Traith to get the dome down. So Ballard just used his healing burst to try and keep himself alive, which is a great idea. But that means he can't use it to heal anyone else. He himself is low. Shep just used his support cooldown to put the shield on Ballard, but Valen has just murdered the medic, so they're going to struggle now. Now, also because Traith's got 2 strikes as well, so Traith's going to burn to death off of that. So now it's just down to Eximus and Shep. Now it's looking like it's pretty bad now because Bucket doesn't have anything to help Eximus stay alive. If he uses his shield, that's great. As soon as Eximus is dead, that's about 80% of the team's DPS gone. What happens now is Shep has to try and stay alive to... So what can happen here is, and what has happened, is Shep rather wisely disengaged. Give me the mouse. Mouse, please. So Shep disengaged so that they could get the dropship timer going. And what Shep's going to do now is try to keep Valen busy. So Shep's going to try and stop here. So Shep's going to try and keep him busy to stop him from killing the relay, which he can kind of do pretty easily. It kind of interrupts his damage a fair bit because you have to sort of hold the button down and getting hit interrupts it. So Shep may be able to save it. I don't know if he will though. Like, Valen could just easily charge Shep and kill him. Which he's going for, in fact, and Shep may even try for the dome. But unfortunately, the relay is in the dome. Oh no, he knocked him out? No, he's not quite enough. So because Valen's got a chunk of health, a chunk of armor, and he's just against Shep, here's the death throws going on. Shep kind of domed himself in there with the monster as well. Having the dome may have been a bit much. But, oh well. Ooh, well played. That was a good match.